Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. I am seriously pumped to have you here today because we're going to dive into a story that honestly seems super simple on the surface, but actually packs this incredibly profound educational lesson about helping others and the true nature of mutual aid. We're going to break down the classic tale of Zuzu and Pia, and we'll map out exactly how their actions create what we like to call a chain of kindness. So get comfortable and let's get right into it. So, tell me this, can someone literally 50 times smaller than you actually save your life? I mean, have you ever felt just a little too small to make a difference? Have you ever looked at a massive problem, or maybe looked at someone who seems way more capable than you and thought, well, there is absolutely nothing I can do to help them? Today's source material shatters that assumption entirely. We're going to see how size and status mean absolutely nothing when it comes to the sheer power of a helping hand. All right, let's jump straight into part one. Two very different friends. Meet Zuzu and Pia. Okay, to really get this, we need to set the stage a bit. Every good analysis starts with understanding the foundational elements, right? And here our elements are two totally distinct characters living by a wide blue river right under the shade of a massive, beautiful mango tree. And what's super interesting here is the extreme contrast between our two protagonists. Take Zuzu the ant. He's tiny, steady, incredibly prepared, and biologically capable of lifting 50 times his own weight. Contrast that with Pia the pigeon. She's significantly larger, playful, gentle, and incredibly fast, basically spending her days cheerfully chasing butterflies. Physically and mentally, they just couldn't be more different. Now, because they're so different, you can probably guess they don't exactly see eye to eye at first. Pia looks down at Zuzu, who's just huffing and puffing, carrying these heavy grains one by one, and she practically laughs at him. She asks, "Don't you ever take a break? You're missing all the fun up here." But Zuzu, he is hyper-focused on the future. He knows the rains are coming, and he knows food is going to be scarce. He's doing the hard, silent work of preparation, while Pia is just completely carefree. Moving right along to part two, sharing the rainy harvest. The first act of kindness. Well, as we all know, sunny days never last forever, do they? The seasons inevitably shift, and those skies turn gray. And the rains don't just fall, they pour continuously for days. The entire environment completely changes. The berries wash away, the seeds are soaked and totally ruined, and suddenly the forest is just stripped of its resources. One drizzly morning, Zuzu peeks out of his warm, dry tunnel and spots Pia sitting on a low branch. And she has tears in her eyes. She actually hasn't eaten in 2 days because, well, unlike Zuzu, she didn't store a single thing. And this brings Zuzu to a major crossroads. Pia hasn't eaten in 2 days. He has a massive surplus. She has absolutely nothing. I mean, he could easily just say, "Hey, I told you so. I warned you while you were out playing," but he doesn't. And that's the crucial point here. Zuzu chooses pure empathy over ego. He runs back, wraps a pile of dry grains in a leaf, and just gives them to Pia. Despite her teasing him earlier, he helps her. And that choice right there, that's the very first link forged in our chain of kindness. Which leads us to part three, a swift river rescue. Danger on a hot summer day. Let's fast forward a bit and see how this builds as we shift into a completely different season. The relentless rains finally give way to a blistering hot summer day. Zuzu has been working so hard in the heat and he gets incredibly thirsty, so he heads down to the river for a quick sip. Pia warns him that the wet rocks are notoriously slippery, but unfortunately it's too late. Zuzu loses his footing and plunges directly into the fast-flowing water, and you can just hear his absolute panic. "Help! I fell! I'm in the water! I can't swim! The river's too strong!" And boom, this is where Pi's swift action completely changes the game. It brilliantly illustrates that effectively helping someone doesn't always require some massive, over-engineered plan. Sometimes it just requires swift, decisive action. Pi sees her friend drowning, instantly drops a leaf into the water right next to Zuzu, and gives him a little platform to climb onto. Her quick thinking literally saves his life in a matter of seconds. Let's actually slow down for just a second here and really absorb the emotional weight of what just happened. Zuzu is just totally overwhelmed with gratitude. He realizes, you saw me drowning and you didn't even hesitate. You flew straight into danger. He sees that Pia didn't freeze up. She didn't sit there calculating the risk to her own wings or think about how small and insignificant an ant might be to the rest of the forest. She just saw her best friend in trouble and stepped right into the danger zone to pull him out. Because of this, Zuzu makes this incredibly bold promise. If danger ever comes looking for you, I'll be there, I promise. He even jokes that he'd climb the tail of a giant jungle cat or bite a fire-breathing dragon right on the nose for her.
It's a really sweet, kind of playful moment, but it underlines a very serious commitment to mutual support.
Now for part 4, The Tiny Hero Strikes Back. A quiet afternoon interrupted.
So picture this with me. It's a seemingly perfect, completely quiet afternoon. Zuzu is humming happily, having just found this massive crumb under an old log. But suddenly, the vibe totally shifts. Zuzu's sharp little eyes spot a quiet, crouching figure appearing in the bushes. It's a hunter, and he's holding a slingshot, drawn all the way back. And where is he aiming? Right at a low branch on the mango tree, where Pia is sitting in the sun, softly singing, completely unaware that her life is literally hanging by a thread.
Zuzu's promise echoes in his mind. He knows he absolutely has to act. He races up the hunter's heavy boot. Now, the source material tells us his little legs are trembling with fear, but his heart is just burning with courage. He repeats to himself, "This is for my friend, for Pia." He doesn't let his tiny size stop him for a second from trying to take down a giant. And he strikes! Zuzu sinks his tiny jaws into the hunter's leg with everything he has. The hunter flinches hard, his hand violently twitches, and the slingshot fires completely off target. The stone just whizzes harmlessly past the branch, startling Pia, who immediately escapes into the safety of the sky. And the frustrated hunter? He stomps away, entirely defeated by a tiny insect he couldn't even see.
Which brings us to our final section, Part 5, The Importance of Helping Others, or what we can call the reciprocity loop. Okay, let's take a deep breath and step back from the action to look at how all of these events beautifully weave together to teach us our core educational lesson today. This isn't just a story of random acts, guys. It is a perfect textbook illustration of the reciprocity loop. If we trace the timeline, the pattern becomes undeniably clear. Think about it. It started with one simple, selfless act, Zuzu's sharing his hard-earned food during the rainy days. That compassion sparked a deep friendship. That friendship motivated Pia to save Zuzu from the river on that hot summer day. And that rescue gave Zuzu the fierce loyalty needed to bite the hunter and save Pia that quiet afternoon. Helping someone else actively builds a safety net that eventually catches you too.
So, I want you to remember this specific number, 50. Earlier on, Zuzu proudly reminded Pia that ants can lift 50 times their own body weight. But in the context of our explainer today, that number becomes this really powerful metaphor. It tells us that no one is ever too small to carry a heavy burden for a friend. Your capacity to help isn't measured by your physical size or your status, it's measured entirely by your willingness to act.
Which brings us to a beautiful new definition to carry with us today. Zuzu really redefined the whole concept of a hero. A hero isn't necessarily someone with magical powers or immense physical strength, right? A hero is simply a friend who helps, no matter how small they are. Zuzu had the biggest heart in the forest, and honestly, that made all the difference in the world.
And that wraps up our explainer. But before you go, I want to leave you with one final provocative thought. You see, the chain of kindness doesn't just exist in stories by a blue river. It exists right here in our daily lives. So ask yourself, who is the small hero in your life that you can help today? How can you start your very own reciprocity loop? Thank you so much for learning with me today, and I highly encourage you to go out there and put this lesson into practice. Catch you next time.